Welcome to Simply for Life. I'm Bethany, your host, a former diet and health nurse turned certified holistic nutritional consultant with over 16 years of expertise in the health and wellness space. I'm here with Bruce Sweeney, Simply for Life founder, integrative nutritionist with over 30 years of expertise. Join us on the Simply for Life journey as we explore nutrition, hormonal balance, and well-being for a healthier, longer life. Welcome to the show, Bruce.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is a good topic today. This is going to be fit over 50, optimal exercise, frequency, and timing. So I've seen this quite a lot with like different clients and kind of the challenges that they're facing in terms of finding that like right balance and asking more about exercise frequency, how long should they be kind of exercising as well, especially as they age. So many clients are kind of unsure about like how often they should work out, how long they should work out to kind of achieve those like optimal health benefits without really overdoing it. So my question to you to start off is, what are the most common misconceptions you get about exercise frequency and duration, especially for the over 50 age group?
Yes, and first of all, the information is so heavy. It's very bipolar. The information you get on exercise is different opinion. That's why I always recommend to talk to a kinesiologist or somebody who's really got that backbone into this field. Misconception for timing is that I don't have time and I should go to the gym 60 to 90 minutes. I have pain. I shouldn't be exercising. That's
Yeah.
when it's important to talk to somebody who's qualified. I have arthritis. I have cardiovascular disease. I shouldn't be exercising more than 5 or 10 minutes. I should be only exercising in the morning, or it should be after my meals. There's so much misinformation, and some of them, many times, there's a little bit of truth or a common sense approach to it, right?
Right.
And there's a long list. I knew you were going to ask me these questions, but you know what? It's so amazing what we truly believe when it comes to the duration. There's also, because the industry has changed, the fitness industry, they're brilliant. They're really adapting to what's going on and what's trending. So we got to give them thumbs up, but there's a lot of confusion. Many people think that they should be exercising only twice per week. It's a great start. Any
Yeah.
start is amazing. Many people think they should be exercising twice per day or doing weight bearing every day, cardio after 50 every day, mobility, stretching. Well, that's when it starts taking too much of your time. And a lot of people think that, you know what, I have to train very intense, increase my heart rate. There's a simple equation you can do out there, Bethany, and you're probably aware of this one already. But it's simple. You always remember 220 and you divide it by your age. I'm 53. So my maximum heart rate should be about 167. That's my maximum. I don't like to keep it maximum. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of, you know what, flirting around 120, 130, and sometimes, depending how I feel, I push it to a 150, but I'm physically fit, so I can take it, right?
Right.
So there's all kinds of misconception. Your heart rate should not be going too high over 120. Your heart rate should be high. And I'm hoping we're going to basically help our audience understand on what should be their best exercise, duration and time, so forth, so on, so they can have a sense of being refreshed and align themselves in the right direction.
Right. So kind of as you age, obviously your heart rate needs to kind of get lower from what I would imagine. So you don't want to be kind of pushing yourself too hard, because if we're thinking about sort of that age group as well, you don't want to sort of push yourself into this like you've done too much. And I think a lot of people try and do that, especially I've noticed after you probably noticed holidays. We have obviously in Canada, we had a holiday recently, and just going back into the gym, there was nothing available because I think everybody comes in feeling super guilty. But again, it's that like kind of all or nothing, pushing yourself into working out kind of right away and pushing yourself to that kind of heart rate. How does your body sort of response to exercise change after the age of 50? Is there a noticeable difference?
Biologically, physically, we know there's some change. We're seeing it. Our muscle capability, tolerance, and muscle development change. Our hormone change.
Yeah.
our stamina. A lot of people are getting more fluent with our VO2 max right now, which is a really good way to measure yourself if you're into the longevity space, your cardio output, so forth, so on. But the muscle capability and endurance and our cardiovascular and our vascular system change
Hmm.
as we age gracefully. So the idea, I like what you put up there. I've seen it too many times. Like, okay, we partied, so I'm gonna go burn it off or sweat it off.
Yeah.
That actually can be dangerous. And I want to make sure that I say this in a fashionable way that people understand. Dangerous because many times you're dehydrated.
Yeah.
Your cardiovascular disease doesn't have the capacity to deal with this. It's taxing your body. Your body is less tolerant to tax, so you're more prone to having a flu, cold. It impacts your immune system. You're more prone to feeling down or depressed from this because it has an impact on your cortisol level. You're stressing your body.
Yeah.
While 20 years before, your body, even though it was not the best thing to do after celebrating to go hard and try to sweat it off, exercise is good after, but not at that intensity. Your body could take it, but not at 50. You got to be very smart about this.
Right. Can you sort of explain, I guess, because comes up quite a lot, I find with clients as well, they asking about, the difference between both aerobic and strength training in this age group.
Yeah, aerobic, or a lot of people are saying cardio. And, now we have more people are fluent. They know the difference between aerobic, cardio, and straight training, right? Aerobic training or cardio, I think it's essential. We need it more than ever at our age for cardiovascular or lung capacity. Our vascular system gives us more stamina and endurance. But weight bearing or strength conditioning, the last 5 or 10 years has really rise up on the benefits. There used to be a lot of myths, right? Because muscle is becoming the organ of longevity.
Yeah.
Everything that we have to do, like we've discussed before, has a positive impact on living well and living longer well. But uh, weight training, which we all know, but straight training, those forms are good for bone density. I cannot say enough. There's nothing in the world that's better for preserving bone density than weight training. Absolutely nothing. And
Yeah.
then muscle integrity. You can still build muscle mass. It's slower at our age. I'm talking my age group, not yours. But
Hmm.
in the 50s, it's slower. It's still doable. It requires a little bit more work. But what is easily achievable is maintaining muscle integrity, right? Beyond that, when you maintain muscle integrity, you're guaranteed you're maintaining also bone density, which is so important when we move into our 60s and 70s.
Right.
And now also it's starting to be disputed that resistant weight training can be as beneficial for your cardiovascular system as doing cardio. Does that mean that we should stop doing aerobic training? I think that they all serve its place, and it makes exercise a little bit more entertaining. Even for some, it's not, to have that diversity and flexibility of changing your workout throughout the week.
Yeah, I think mixing it up a little bit, and I think when I've spoken to people, they say like, "Well, it's boring, like the aerobic, like you're kind of just standing on a treadmill or doing this or that, and not going anywhere." So I think just changing it up a little bit in terms of do your walks or uphill kind of walking, like that will really get your heart rate going. Somewhere nice in nature because you can kind of get two birds with one stone in that sense, like the nature therapy and getting your cardiovascular system kind of moving. But also weight training. You could be, like you said, you do things outside where you're lifting logs, and I'm not lifting logs, but weight training is great. And I've heard so many people talk about like osteoporosis and all that stuff, and they're in their 60s now, and they're now struggling and waiting for hip replacements and things because they never did any of that sort of training. And like you said, it's great to hear that it also helps with that bone density as well, because I think that's really important.
Yeah. And I think also you're saying they're waiting for hip or knee or so forth. While you're waiting, there's a misconception. We'll add this on, that I'll wait until I get a surgery and maybe start exercising.
Right.
No, it's never too late. There's no time not to create movement. It's important to talk to the right person to align you with the right movement, but there's no time. Your body needs to move any day of the week, and any day possible you can create movement.
I think it's that slow and steady start. Like you said, I think a lot of people think, oh, working out means like I need to go like 5, 6 days a week and I like have to commit all this time. And like you said, it's just that slow start if you can't sort
Baby
of walk.
steps.
Yeah, baby steps, even if you're sitting there and you can't get up and walk because you are, waiting for hip surgery, knee surgery, get a couple of weights while you're sitting on the couch. Honestly, like
Bingo. Yeah.
just small things like that, it makes all the difference. Um, are there any types of sort of supplements or like protein powders that you would sort of recommend in this age group that would be more effective, A, for like helping them build that energy before the workout? Because that's one problem I find with a lot of people, or something that is for like a recovery post workout because they're feeling really sore.
Yeah. I think there's a plethora of supplements. A lot of them are BS when it comes into fitness and in our age group. To cover the gaps, the essential, because the main goal is to keep muscle integrity, feed your muscle, recovery, so forth, so on. The main one I would suggest, assuming that you're not eating a well balanced diet, and if you do, you don't need a supplement. But as a supplement, a good whey protein concentrate. But you got to make sure it's the right one. You want to make sure it's undenatured. It doesn't have any fillers or recipients or spike amino acids.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the New Zealand whey protein concentrate because it's multifunctional. Beyond being beneficial for your blood pressure, good for your liver, increasing your level of glutathione, which is good as a powerful antioxidant. It
Right.
has all the right amino acids that you need in to be in sync with muscle integrity or building muscle. Some people say that it's good for weight loss. We got to be clear on this. It does absolutely nothing for weight loss. But if you're increasing your muscle mass
Yeah.
by nourishing your muscle very well with good amino acids or good protein, that increase your metabolic rate. So you'll be burning more fuel. But
Right.
to say that whey protein concentrate does that, that's clever marketing, but that's not true. But it's what it does, really, it's what it does to your muscle. Then if you increase muscle mass, then you're burning more fuel. So there's all kinds of benefits. Now the science is telling us that we used to tell take your whey protein before or after your workout. It's irrelevant. Whey after workout, it's convenient. Drinking whey is convenient, but as long as you have a good solid 30 grams to 40 grams of whey protein concentrate per day, you're going to cover all the gaps. And after that, if you want to jump into creatine, post workout, electrolyte, which it's not necessary if you have a good diet, but whey protein concentrate covers everything you need.
So with whey protein, that's usually milk based. What about somebody that is sort of struggling with lactose intolerance, things like that? Is there like plant based things out there that they can use?
There is, and there's some amino acid they're a little bit harder to get, like leucine, so forth, so on. So I suggest mixing pea protein with hemp protein or pea protein with another, so they have a better blend of those amino acid. Unfortunately, the plant-based protein are not created equal, and when we're looking at muscle integrity, we need all those constituents, those amino acids that really are the building block for recovery and our muscle. So there's always that kind of protein choice you can make, but you got to make sure you mix it and make sure pea protein is there as a base.
Okay. What about in terms of like soreness and stuff? Like, would you recommend magnesium or anything like that for supplements?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of. There's certain minerals, electrolytes. I'm a big fan overall
Yeah.
electrolytes, right? But again, when it comes to muscle soreness, I'm old school, and I still think that, what some will talk about L-glutamine, creatine, whey protein does it all. And if you're going to look for a recovery, a good electrolyte drink will do it, right? Magnesium is been hyped more and more these days. Um, Brain chains, amino acids, I'm not a fan. They tend to convert more into blood glucose and sometimes spike your insulin, and they haven't proved the test of times. It's just clever marketing. And you can also buy essential amino acids also. But again, it comes down to pretty much what's contained in a good whey protein concentrate.
it should all be basically in there for you. So it's finding that, and just a clean one as well. And I'm pretty sure something for
Clean
my
one
master's as
is
well.
the key.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that as well, how long should each exercise session ideally last to actually maximize those benefits within the age group? Thinking maybe people are just starting out trying to exercise for the first time.
Yes. I need 5 minutes on this at least, because for a lot of our audience listening and they're not steady, they're off and on, and they want to start exercising.
Yes.
When I tell my client, start by doing planks. I cannot do plank. I said,
Thanks.
here's what you need to do. Trying to do planks, even if you're not doing it, is part of doing the exercise. You're doing movement. If I was to start running today and I want to run for a marathon, I'm not going to be running a marathon. I'll run 500 meters, then 1 kilometers, and so on, bail down from that. So the average we keep hearing all the time is to do about a mix of 150 minutes per week, right? But that's the
Mm-hmm.
bare minimum. That is looking, it's pretty much like the RDA, that's the bare minimum. And it's a good foundation. You're looking at 20 minutes per day of movement. Uh, but I think that there's some misconceptions that I'm going to start exercising and I'm able to do the exercise right away. Whether you're starting to walk, you're going to get sore from walking or climbing or doing stairs or biking or do
Right.
weight bearing. That processes the building up to reach a point that it gets more comfortable. You can do the proper range of motion. It's a part of the exercise. And I'm a big fan that the first week you should start with 5 minutes a day, because about building a routine and finding the time for you. Because some will
Right.
say go first thing in the morning, go at night. Find 5 minutes, build that routine, and every week increase it until you can reach 25 to 30 minutes with ease in your routine. But I'm also a big fan and advocate that you should be moving 90 minutes per day. And a lot of people have confusing with that. What I call 90 minutes is doing some neat non-exercise activity. Um, Doing your garden, it's good for the mind. You hit it right from the get-go. I'm a big
Right.
fan of exercising outdoor. You get the red light therapy, you get the natural sunshine. Beyond the D3, those serotonin, we feel better. The air we breathe, depending on where you live,
Yes.
so you get much more benefits. And I want to be straight. I'm a gym kind of guy all my life. I've been going to the gym for 40 years, but I try to stay outside and do most of my exercise during the summer months. So yeah, start with 5 minutes and build it up and teach yourself that you're going to give yourself permission that that 5 minutes the following week is going to be a 6, 7, 8, until you build that platform of a minimum 25 to 30 minutes per day. And that takes in the envelope of 90 minutes of movement, 25 minutes, 30 minutes of exercise. One day could be cardio, the next day straight training, mobility, stretching. But on top of that, you have that 60 minutes of whether painting a wall in your basement, cleaning the yard, anything like that. So you can do mindful exercise to disconnect, to reconnect, which I'm a big fan of, the mind exercise.
That's wonderful. I was just writing some stuff down as you were talking, but just some ideas for people when they kind of first start. Because a lot of people, like you said, think it needs to be like, oh, you go to the gym, you need to get a gym membership, or you need to, buy a bike and do this all at home. But just a couple things I heard from yourself is doing nature walks, even if you have a dog or anything, or grab a friend to go. Stairs is really good as well at home. If you have stairs, that's great. You can take loads of laundry up and down the stairs. Grocery shopping, like this is a good one too. Pushing a cart around, if like you get heavy
Yes.
carts, that takes a lot of work. And even like taking your grocery bags and using them as like the weights, kind of on either side. That's another good one. Parking further away from places, and instead of parking really close, I think that gives you a little bit added more exercise in your day as well. If you're kind of sitting around and you're sedentary, pushing things around, like you said, as much as you can. If you've got kids at home and things like that, little babies you're picking up, or you're a little bit older, you got grandkids, you could do that. And cleaning your house or painting, that's a great one. So there's so many things, and gardening as well. It's therapeutic. There's so many ways that you can kind of get exercise in.
It's and it's amazing, Bethany. I mean, you and I, we do chores around the place, and everybody's listening. You don't want to do the chores, but once you're done, you feel so much better.
Yeah, it
That's
feels
that sense
cleaner.
that okay, this is accomplished, but mentally you feel better. Like I didn't want to do that chore, but it's done now. Feel better. but physically, mentally, you feel better also. So it's a win-win, right? You know,
Right.
it's easy to get on the couch and watch Netflix. It's not easy for me because I don't like to watch too much TV, but I
Right.
totally get it. I absolutely totally get it. But just to give yourself that permission to start with 5 minutes. And if you want to start with 60 minutes right away from exercise, there's consequence because you're going to be feeling sore, exhaust. You're not going to feel what I would tell my audience, like when I exercise, I get so much energy. But when you first start, that exercise is going to take energy. And until you have that adaptation process, you're not going to say, oh my God, I exercise, I get so much energy. No, I'm exhausted, I'm poop. So that's
Yeah.
why starting baby step and slowly creeping up the exercise, I've seen far better results. And what our audience might not know, I used to own my own fitness center, and I was a personal trainer also when I was at university. And heads up to all personal trainer making a living. Back in the days, I had to write a training program, spend an hour with my client in the gym for $8 an hour,
Oh,
right?
wow.
If they paid,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So the game has changed, which is great. But I remember back then, I would tell my clients, well, come over, we'll just start with 10 minutes at the gym. That's it, very basics. And some of them were saying, I'm getting ripoff, I'm just getting $10. And I was young back then. I would say, okay, she's coming next week. I'm going to give her an hour workout. Well, trust me, they want to get back to the 10 minutes. I would kind of push the intensity. They'd be like,
Right.
oh my God, you're not ready for that. Build yourself
Right.
up, right? So I think it's very important to give yourself a chance to build it back up. Now, if you're an ex-athlete or somebody's been training all your life and you have exercise in a year, you want to start back, I get it. I get this. You have a track record. The 5 minutes won't work. But anybody who's never been too much into sports or exercise,
Yeah.
first of all, we know it's never too late. If you're 99, start exercising. It's never too late.
Yeah.
Start at a very small platform.
I totally agree. And I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions, like we talked about in the beginning, is thinking that, oh, well, it's kind of too far gone for me. I'm already old. I'm already overweight. And people have those tapes stuck in their head that like it's not possible for them. But like we talked about, there's such simple, small ways to do it. And even when you were talking about the gardening or the painting, and you're feeling pretty accomplished after, it's not only helping you exercise, but it's really clearing your mental health. And I know for myself, like when even just going around the house and like decluttering, and that takes a lot of work because you're lifting boxes, going through things, and it feels really good. It feels like, you're lighter, and you have more energy basically after. But yes, it's exhausting. You may be sore later, but you've actually done something as exercise, right?
Yeah, and I think that we have to be clear. Like that's my not my area of expertise, and we have many exceptional trainers around here. But the reality with the message, for example, I got two clients that, and one of them is my personal best friends, but two that are going through chemo right now, stage 4 cancer, so forth, so on. So they were both told not to exercise. I said, well, let's put a break on this
Okay.
because one of them, my personal best friend, the first week on treatment felt horrible. Like
Yeah.
he felt like death. Second
Yeah.
and third treatment, things are getting better, and which we're very excited. But the other client, for example, was told also not to exercise. I said, why? Because they when they think about the exercise, they think about going to the gym, lifting heavy weights, or running on a
Yeah.
treadmill and sweating. I said, what about Tai Chi?
Yeah.
What about just trying to get out of your chair and do 50 steps at the time? Movement. Movement is part of exercising. That I think is where we need to downplay the message every now and then because whether if you have this heart disease, you're going for surgery, you have back pain, or you get a leg amputated,
Hmm.
there's always
Yeah.
exercise for the body, finding the right one.
And it helps your blood flow too, and that's also going to help your energy levels.
Healing.
When you're sitting and you're stagnant all day, this is why a lot of people are complain when they're tired, especially around the holidays too. When you're sitting and you're relaxing, you're actually more tired because you're not
Doing nothing.
circulating your blood anymore. So you become sort of stagnated with the energy. And like you said, Tai Chi, even like yoga that you could do, like nothing like extravagant. You could do something that's really chill yoga. Go
Air
for
exercise.
yeah, and just something really, really small. Like it's just getting out there, getting in nature. just enjoying yourself as well, because it also makes you feel really good. Like, speaking of that as well, are there any specific exercises, I would say, that would be beneficial or more detrimental for the people who are over 50?
Yeah, well, for all the kinesiologists and expert out there, I'm going to basically go with what I've seen in my life, and I'm no expert. First of all, the number one exercise I've always suggest is walking. It's free.
Yeah.
There's no charge for it. There's no membership. You can go at your pace and your schedule anywhere. All you
Yeah.
need is your running shoes, or you can do it bare feet if you want to.
Yeah.
But there's two exercises I like to recommend, depending on the client, right? Is plank, because I'm a big fan of core, right?
Right.
Doing elbow plank, and then just functional squats. There's different terms out there, but just using your body to at least have a squatting movement. I'm absolutely amazed how many people have a hard time squatting.
Yes.
We
Hips.
need to squat every day using the washroom. That's a whole different
Yeah.
animal because we are actually sitting. But actually, just to go that 90 degree, it's absolutely amazing. And squat is an amazing movement for your core, your back, your glutes, your legs. It's good for cardiovascular system. And I think it's an important one. You know, I have people that actually are putting their shoes on. No word of a lie. Man, I almost gave his name, but I have a client who turned friends many years ago, and he was wearing Velcro sneakers, even when Velcro sneakers were not in style. For
Oh,
a joke, he bought me some at Christmas one year, and it was a joke, right? Because I
yeah.
was teasing him with his Velcro shoes. It was the best shoes I ever had in my life because that summer I was painting and doing job at the barn. He's just like,
Yeah.
but he was wearing them because he had a hard time bending. And of course, a long trade. We just starting working on his core, mobility, some flexibility. He was working with a really good trainer, Tara Blizzard, here in town. But he also learned to squat, just do natural squat, and it changed. And we still joke about his Velcro. He no longer wears Velcro shoes, so forth and like. But he was the role model for anything you want to know about Velcro shoes. And he bought being white Velcros,
That's
white
hilarious.
Velcros that were sticking up like an eyesore. But I wear them one summer. It was the best thing I ever had.
That's
So
amazing.
doing squats, it's more than just doing it. As we age, we need that flexibility, we need that mobility. And why I like squat, it's preventive for lower back injuries, sciatica injuries we hear all the time.
Hmm.
It's a functional exercise that we need, whether we're carrying our luggage to groceries, carrying grandkids. It's an amazing exercise. You need to squat down, being comfortable. You need to pick up. And for preventive, if you fall, you hurt yourself, you want to have those core muscle that are able to help you getting back off the ground, right? So I
Yes.
like these three.
Yeah, that's such a basic one. And when Bruce is talking about a plank, so if anybody knows what a plank is, it's basically you're laying on the floor, but you've got your feet up, you're on your pointed toes, and you've got your elbows on the floor. So this part of your body, and you're staying straight. So that's really what a plank is. The easiest way to do it is against a wall.
Yes,
So it's kind of, you're
yes,
standing
forgot
against the
about that.
wall, and that would probably be the easiest way to start if you are elderly, and kind of, or putting your elbows on like the couch or like something that's a little bit more steady. Don't use a rolling chair, please. Nobody. But that's kind of the great way to talk about it. And even just starting with like getting up and off the couch, like doing those squats, like you're using that muscle to go forward and sit back, and like you don't need to be in a gym to do that, or even just from your staircase, at the bottom of your staircase, you can sit up and sit back down on the stairs and do that a few times a day, and you'll feel wobbly at first, but I think your
100%.
core
Yeah,
works really well for
you'll be
pregnancy as
shaking.
well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does.
So as well, how can individuals over the age of 50 tailor their exercise routines to kind of accommodate those common health issues that we see, like arthritis, cardiovascular concerns? Obesity is usually a big factor too for a lot of people that don't want to sort of exercise. What would you sort of say to kind of like start in that direction?
Well, we're all different. We all have different needs. We know this. And because it's so overwhelming if you Google online, what we know from a longevity and quality of life standpoint, weight bearing should be done 3 times a week. cardio, walking, climbing stairs 2 times a week, and maybe once per week or twice mobility, yoga, meditation. The problem is that this is what I'm suggesting. And depending on your like, dislikes, lifestyle, if you're still working, retired or not, what I would suggest at this point in time is to say, okay, at my age now, I'm going to take time to invest on somebody locally. I'll ask Bethany who does she knows is a growth trainer to give me the foundation of what's good for me, to do the
Yeah.
right range of motion, to align me. It doesn't have to be forever. And if you want to choose a trainer forever, go for it. But I think you should invest a good couple of weeks just to build yourself up, having the right type of exercise, and have something that's sustainable for a very long time. Because what works for exercise is not how hard you work out, it's the consistency.
Yeah. And like you said, the foundation, it's even myself, I've been in the gym since I was probably 15, and after my second son, I sort of lost that core stability and needed sort of to be reintroduced to that exercise, even though I worked out throughout pregnancy and stuff. But the fact was the muscle was very different. So I had to hire a trainer to sort of give me those foundations of, this is the new body that you have, and this is how, like, to help you work out. So I was safe. So because there's so many issues that I saw myself with other people around me that ended up having surgeries because of going back into exercise too quickly or doing the wrong types, and just kind of going full force in, right? So
Well,
any
that's
age
that's what
really.
they do. You might have an old injuries, or you might have this like, you might have this idea that in order to get cardio, I have to go on a rowing machine or an elliptical. Well, there's thousands of other choices you can do, and that's why you hired them. And then what if that you're starting to exercise, and after a couple of days you feel kind of uncomfortable? It's not sore, but it's kind of pain. Then
Yeah.
you have somebody can retweak, realign you. It's worth the investment. That's what they do, and they will align you. And if you need the accountability, you can always have a partner by your side. But I think a good foundation, if you haven't invest on somebody to align you in the right direction in your 50s, it's time to invest.
Yes, definitely invest in your health. Well, thank you so much, Bruce, for all of your perspective today. That was amazing. So, links
Thank you, Elsa.
to, yeah, definitely links to the supplement store and both of our contact details are in the show notes for you all as the listener. Don't forget to share this episode with family and friends, and stay tuned for more on the Simply for Life journey. In good health, everybody.
Yes, and Bethany, I'll finish with this. There's a reason you laugh, because please listen when she said, don't use a roll chair when doing plank. There's a big reason for that, and you won't like it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.